How's it going, guys? Balder here, and I am currently in London. So, if you'd noticed, I did have a bit of a hiatus over the summer. Let's just say that I needed to take a break from all things, especially after I passed a Security Plus assessment test, so yippee. Either way, it is Halloween, and there is no way I'm going to shirk my favorite tradition, which is Halloween, the best time of the year. And we're going to celebrate by flying from Stanstaid Airport in London all the way to Transylvania in Romania. But that's not the scary part. The scary part is that we're flying Ryanair!
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
When it comes to the 737, I've always been more of a fan of the 737 than I was of the A320, even though I think that the A320 is a bit more sophisticated in terms of what it's capable of. But either way, the 737 is an amazing plane, especially the next generation, the 800, which is what I am in now. So let's go ahead and get things started. I already did a few things here and there on the FMC, that's why the ground power is available. Normally, when we are talking about airline operations, the GPU is normally going to be plugged in when we're starting a turn. So we're just going to do that right now. Give it some power. Now let's go ahead and run through a dirty checklist of the things that I have to do. I'm not going to go through the checklist. That's not really my concern, but we can get everything set up while we are waiting on that. Small thing about the nav. It's something that'll happen instantaneously. Oh, there we go. Alright, so we don't have a stall warning. Cool. Let's go ahead, test the lights. Yay. While we're up there. By the way, this is not going to be a full flight in the video, but I am planning on posting the full flight once I am done. So keep that in mind. Alright, so got our navs going, so can we get our yaw damper on? Yes, we can. Good old line. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get things set up. Alright, cool. So, FMC time, I am going to be doing it the lazy way. So, keep that in mind. But yeah, let's see what we can do. We'll check our FMC, see that everything is up to date. It is not yet the 6th of October, so we are good. Alright, so let's see our FS actions. Let's go ahead and get our fuel counted correctly. So this is in kilograms. I'm going to have to change and convert from Freedom units to the rest of the world units. Alright, so I need 25,089. Let's see, 25,089 converted, so that's 1174351. Well, hang on. 25089. Alright, 11380. It's actually pretty close. And as for our payload, we have a whopping total of, let's see how many passengers we have, 181. So I'll just change that to 181. The payload is 4,160. So 2,110. There we go. Alright, so we have our 0 fuel weight. That's going to be, I'm going to write this down. So 62.00 fuel weight. Awesome. So let's go ahead. I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick, so let's go with this one. Send in the IRS position. Great. The route. We could do the flight plan request, so why not? EGSS to LRCL. Yep. Select. Request. And we should be good to go soon. Alright, so departure, let's go ahead and take a look at our flight plan. So it's going to be runway 22. It's going to be the CLN2E. There's nothing in the transition, so we'll go there. Departure and arrival. Arrival, I tend to do... I'm going to go ILS 25. For this one, and Larmu 1X is the... We have no transition. Execute. Let's look at the legs. Alright, we'll get rid of that discontinuity. And execute. Alright, so we'll have that. Cruising altitude is going to be 35,000 feet. Zero fuel weight is 62.0. Reserves are 1.0, and the cost index is 13. My lucky number. Alright, nothing on the end limit. We're not going to be doing any derate takeoff. Flaps are going to be 5. So V1, rotate V2. V2 is 155, so we are going to set our speed to 165. There we go. Alright, so that's 35,000 feet. Alright, so LRCL elevation. Let's go ahead and get this right. It's going to be 1,033. So that's going to be our landing altitude. Cool. We do have fuel in our center tanks. All right. All things look good. Hydraulic overheads, doors, fine. Let's see, anything I need to do with the overhead. Nothing that I importantly need. APU is starting to run. That's good to know. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's see what else I need to do. What I do like about the PMDG 737 is that the cockpit layout differs from livery to livery. It's kind of an interesting thing to notice. Like the different types of switches, this would be different from other types of, other types of 737s, just depends. Now we got our APU up and running. Let's get this show on the road. APU bleed comes on, as do the packs. Alright, so everything is closing now. This thing should be pulling away pretty soon. There we go. Alright, so now that we got practically everything done, we are going to remove our chocks. We are going to have our pushback helper, or pushback planner, whatever you want to call it.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Looks like he's connecting. Let's just get our anti-collision lights on. And we should be able to leave pretty soon.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Let's just hope that it doesn't screw it up.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Alright. Pushback is commencing. We are clear to start engines. However, when we're talking about real life, we'll be waiting for a little bit. I'd say probably now at this point. Yes, we can probably start the engine. So let's get this pack off. It's kind of weird because with PMDG you only need one pack to turn off. So I don't know what's up with that, but that is pretty unrealistic. Alright, so we are getting our engines spooled up. Please and thank you. Alright, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Will do. Feels kind of worried that the engine gauges look a little bit blurry. I hope they didn't change the settings without me knowing. It doesn't look too motion blurry, or motion blurry at all.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Let's get our second engine spooled up
You
as
may
well.
disconnect.
Okay, sir. Clear to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
We'll get our flaps up, have our auto brakes set to RTO. Get our second engine running. Alright, engine has been ignited. APU bleed's coming off. Packs are coming off. The packs are coming on. And we'll start turning the APU off. Get this generator up and running, of course. Alright. So looks like everything is set. Controls seem free and correct. Let's go ahead and release our parking brake, close this window, and start our taxi. It goes without saying that I'm not going to be using air traffic control in this game because, if I'm being honest, the air traffic control in Flight Simulator is just crap. Full and full, 100% verified crap. Either way, we are off. And admittedly, the 737 is a sexy plane. I don't know anyone who thinks otherwise. Maybe the people at Airbus, who knows? Or maybe that's their guilty pleasure, who knows? Yeah, so one of the things that I noticed with the PMDG, and this is also one of the reasons why I haven't really been posting a lot of videos lately, is because PMDG was not very stable until Sim Update 10. In fact, the fly-by-wire A320 wasn't stable. No plane was really stable. After a few hours, performance just started to tank, and this is something that I saw more prominently in glass cockpits than steam gauges, but it's still something that occurred nonetheless. It seems like they rectified that. The performance doesn't seem to be going down as much as it used to, which is always good. I actually enjoy long-haul flights. They're one of my favorites. I'd love to do just like a 10-hour flight, you know, from point A to point B and put it on YouTube. Hell, I might even keep it on record and sleep my way through the long haul just to wake up and land the plane. That's actually not a bad idea. I should do that sometime. I don't know how many people would watch it, So maybe it is a bad idea. Oh, but either way, all I can say is that I love this plane. I think it's my favorite in-flight simulator so far. I know there's been some controversy, and unable to 210 knots at that point. Well, we'll find out when we get there. Because I do think this plane is a bit on the heavy side, but shouldn't be too big of an idea, or too big of a problem, so we'll just clear it. Yeah, when it comes to FMC problems, it's a case of we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Alright, so let's go ahead and do our before takeoff. Alright, anything I need for that? Nope. We are ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, it is worth mentioning that the 737-800 is compatible with PAC-X. I chose not to do that because that would make the departure process longer than it would be interesting, though I think I am going to do a flight like that in the future with the 737 and PAC-X. Alright, so we're going to line up with the runway. If we look at our attitude indicator, it shows that we're aligned with the green bug. That means we're on the correct runway, so we're going to go ahead, spool it up a little bit. Auto throttle goes on, and now we go to toga. Alright, we'll keep this steady. Cross check.
V1, rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Alright, so, interesting thing. We cannot engage the LNAV and VNAV until after we get to 800 feet. But I'm going to manually control this as I fly. No autopilot needed. But I am going to release my flaps to 1. Alright, so we're taking off quite nicely. Alright, last flaps is going up. Alright, so something you may not have known is that there is a bit of an altitude cap when it comes to the London airspace. I have no idea why. But that's the reason why we weren't climbing. Alright, so yeah, it looks like it's going to be 4,000 for a good while. Off-schedule descent. That should be fine. I'm going to be climbing to 5,000 feet now. Now, I always found this to be a pretty weird departure. I'm not manually handling this autopilot too well. Alright, so 6,000 is our next altitude. Alright. Don't know why it took me so long to finish that sentence, but we're just gonna go ahead and stay at this 6,000 feet. I have to admit, I am a little bit distracted by everything going on. I really need to pay better attention to my altitudes and whatnot. Alright, 2 more minutes and I'm done with this crap. Do I have to leave the mainland to climb? Seems interesting. Alright, gonna put on autopilot now. Now we're starting to climb. Getting ourselves up in the air. Alright, 10,000 landing lights go off. We should be able to go faster than 250 knots, which is what our autopilot is doing. 299, an oddly specific number. Alright, auto brakes should be off. And hey, why not? Flight director should also go to the co-pilot. Perfect, we are getting sent off. Alright, so when it comes down to airline operations, and I'm particularly talking about flying jets, be it private or passenger, and generally anything that operates in a high altitude IFR, there are several altitudes that you need to be aware of. For example, we're coming up to 14,000 feet. So once we have 14,000 feet, it is required that everyone is provided oxygen. So at 14,000 feet, we check our pressure gauge, and it looks pretty good. We definitely have a differential pressure, which means that the aircraft is pressurized, and our cabin altitude seems to be about 1,500 feet above sea level. But beyond that, we have 18,000 feet, which means we'll have to change our altimeter to standard, which in inches of mercury is going to be 29.92. Then at 35,000 feet, our cruising altitude will be checking the pressures again. That's pretty much it. So I guess if you want to get the rundown of it, 10,000 feet is when you turn off your landing lights. 14,000 feet is when you check the air pressure, the cabin pressure. 18,000 feet is when you change the altimeter to standard, and 35,000 feet, at least in our case, is when we are going to get our cruising altitude. There are some others as well. For example, we don't want to go below 3,000 until we are on final approach. But that's not going to be for a while. And now that we have the standard air pressure, all we need to do is to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Alright, so we're getting pretty close to the top of descent. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the altitude to 3,000. If you're wondering, 3,000 feet is the minimum safe altitude for final approach. So we're just going to prepare that. This plane's not going to descend until it passes top of descent. And even then, for some reason, it likes to not go after passing the top of descent, and I have to switch it manually, but we'll see in about a minute. Either way, we've been flying for about an hour and 40 minutes. And so far, things have been going pretty smoothly. It's been an uneventful, a bit bumpy flight that we were dealing with. But one of the things I do love about the 737 is just how automated the autopilot is. Just from this configuration, I can auto-land. I can do pretty much anything except taxi because we haven't figured that out yet. Or emergency situations. But I always gotta land manually. You know how it is. Alright, so we are about to reach top of descent. Fairly quickly, too. Alright, and we are descending by ourselves, so the balance of the world has finally been restored. But yeah, so a few other things that the autopilot cannot do. It cannot configure the flaps, it cannot lower the landing gear. Also, if you're wondering, I have my radar on because I want to make sure that I am not near any form of terrain. I also have a bit of a weather radar as well. Doesn't look like anything is going on, so I'm going to switch back to terrain. Takes a little bit of time to get this up and running. So yeah, we are going to be landing in an airport that has a valley. Yeah, so I have been doing a bit of homework and yeah, I knew the town before I started the flight plan, but I learned it when I was figuring out, okay, can I fly to Transylvania? Yes, so the town is called Cluj-Napoca. I probably butchered that. I do not speak Romanian. But there are flights from Stanstaid Airport to Cluj-Napoca, and this is actually serviced by Ryanair. So in light of the PMDG 737-800 coming out, be it it's been a little bit of time since it has, I thought it was appropriate. I should also see if I can do more Phoenix Sim A320 flights, but that seems to be hands down the most demanding plane in Microsoft Flight Simulator, to the point where I haven't had any good luck with it. Like, the landing just gets completely botched because there are virtually no frames while landing. But either way, all things considered, things are looking pretty good. Whoa, what did I just do? No, it's not Larmix that I want, is it? Yeah, it is. Alright, we're good. And so is our descent. So one of the things that also gets to me is just, you know, the dynamics of air travel now that we are at odds with Russia once again. Because we are actually going towards old flight paths where we fly below Russia in order to avoid its airspace. And since both the West and Russia are pretty much opposed when it comes to the ideas of what to do with Ukraine, leave them the fuck alone. There's definitely a resource war as well. One of the greatest resources that drag required after Vibud. Okay. When is Vibud happening? Not for a while. In fact, I could probably have my flaps. Okay, that's all good. But yeah, so Russia has airspace, and it's a lot easier to fly over Russia than it is to fly under it and take longer and waste more fuel. So it is very interesting. It's something that we did during the Cold War, but we haven't done since. Though certainly some airlines are not allowed into Russian airspace even before they closed it off. But even then, it was the norm for quite a while. We could just fly over Russia. The other thing I'm wondering is if general aviation planes can fly into Russia. Probably a bad idea, but it's something that I am curious about. Maybe as a thought experiment or some shit like that. This does seem like a pretty low descent. Pretty shallow descent, I should say. Let me check the weather radar, see if we are getting into anything that might be stormy. And I'll just leave that on until we pass the clouds. Because if we have to use our de-icing, then okay, we shall. Though I do kind of want to avoid that unless we have to, because it is going to require more thrust, and sometimes that's not a good thing when you are descending and then inducing drag. Because who knows, you may have to go around. Yeah, it's not often I actually do flights at night. This being a Halloween episode, I clearly had to make an exception, but it's just one of the things that I noticed that I like to do. Since these aircraft start cold and dark, I like doing early morning first flight of the day flights, which I think my next flight is going to be. I'm planning a San Diego to Honolulu, which is something Alaska Airlines does, and it's something that I would enjoy doing. But the point still stands. It's not something I really do, flying at night, but it's something I should do more often. It's just that I'm used to working at airports that are just closed after hours. San Diego was closed after 11:30 p.m., didn't open up until 6:30 p.m., or no, 6:30 a.m. I should say. Then you have a huge line of planes, yada yada yada, you get the idea. Good news is that it doesn't look like the weather radar is picking anything up, so it might just be some clouds. Yeah, considering Cluj-Napoca is in a valley, I'm going to switch that to terrain once I get below these clouds. And it also makes me wonder, should I do like some Siberian flights, or maybe it's cold and dark as hell Lapland flights, or Alaska flights. We could go, we could do a flight from Anchorage to Kodiak, or maybe Fairbanks, or Nome, who knows. I guess I am just rambling a little bit. But we are passing our barometer altitude, so we'll have to change it after we reach that set altitude. Otherwise, things are looking pretty smooth. Of course, that was a huge amount of inches of mercury, so it was probably way low pressure in the UK. And it may be completely different in Romania. Alright, so back to standard. And we actually descended below what our descent path is. Well, looking pretty good. Oh, I love the mist effects from the lights. I mean, especially if you have a window seat at night looking over the wing. I'll seeing those strobes just bounce off the mist in the clouds. Just awesome. Yeah, so far so good. It does look like we are going to be doing a traffic patterned approach. All things considered, it is looking good. I'm going to start ahead and get the spoilers armed. Alright, spoilers are armed. Auto brake will probably have to go to 3. Just to get that out of the way. I do like the missed approach path. And will I have to descend to... Yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of a deceleration. But it does depend. Drag required. Alright, well. She's the boss. Looks like these clouds are pretty benign. No sign of icing. Could leave them on for at least a little bit. Doesn't look like we have to worry too much. Don't know why I was double checking the cabin altitude, but is what it is. And it looks like the clouds are pretty much benign, so I'm going back to terrain. And it looks like I'm turning. Just blows my mind just how little time it takes from going one part of a continent to the next. Kind of a thing of beauty if you think about it. You can probably travel anywhere in the world in less than a day, thanks to aircraft. The only exception are really remote places like, I don't know, I think St. Helen might be pretty remote. Unless people really want to see the grave of Napoleon. I don't even know if he's buried there. You know, all the things aside from creepy castles, I really do want to visit Romania someday. Particularly Transylvania. It's probably really freaking awesome. But, I don't know, if anyone in the comments section is familiar with it, let me know. As either way, we are going to be descending past 10,000 feet. Odd that it still says 253, but we're still going below 250. Oh, now it's going down. Alright, past 10,000 feet. Landing lights go on. Cloud cover is pretty low. Certainly looks like it's above minimums, just in case. Minimum's going to be 100 feet, I believe. 100 feet AGL. So 1200 would probably be a good minimum of altitude. You know, even without the insane, even without the visible structures and whatnot, night still looks pretty realistic. Like, you can see the street lights, and they're properly illuminating the streets. Like, this is what you would see if you're looking down. Alright, so we're getting even closer. Once we turn to CL 252, we're going to set our flaps to 5, get us slowed down. And then that'll get us to decelerate. So we're making the turn right now. Once we complete that turn, flaps 5. Alright, then when we hit decel, we're going to bring our landing gear down, and then we're going to set our flaps gradually to 30 degrees. Does that sound like a plan? I think it sounds like a plan. I might actually do it a little bit earlier. Alright, we 100% decelerated by arbitrary measure, of course. Things are looking good. Obviously there is some mountainous terrain, but I don't think we are in any serious danger of hitting any mountains. Alright, I do not have visual of the runway. Yeah, I disabled autopilot and auto throttle. Is that the airport? I believe so. Huh. Alright, I'm gonna actively pause this because I need to make sure I'm not screwing up. No, I'm not. What the hell? It's the ILS that's screwing up. Alright, either way. Spoilers are armed. Auto brake is at 3. We are slightly below the glide slope.
200. 100. 40. 30. 20. 10.
All right. Welcome to Transylvania. Alright, so things look good. Looks like the altimeter wasn't adjusted properly. I did do a little bit of ballooning just before. However, all things considered, I'm sure Ryanair passengers find it pleasant, if not a bit surprising, that the landing was not bad. Okay, so that is not a road. Yeah, so you always gotta love those tiny these tiny airports that don't have all the taxiways available. But we did make it. Kinda weird how the ILS, for whatever reason, wasn't guiding me to the proper runway, but at the same time, I'm still here. It's like, wait a second, are there 2 other airports in the area? Apparently not. There we go, taxiway. Alright, so let's see where we can shut down. My money is on the big building. And now I must choose between hitting an airplane or hitting the fuel tanks. This does not look like the airport for me. Or for really any jet, to be honest. I don't even know why there's airport service, why there's passenger service to here. But I guess I shouldn't complain, should I? Alright, so let's go ahead and set our parking brake if I can find it. Alright. We're on ground power now. These can go back to auto. Logo can stay on. Wing can go off. When we turn off taxi, should be off. Engines off. Anti-collision off. Still can't be engine inhibit. And let's not forget our cargo doors. There we go. Alright, so welcome to Transylvania, specifically Cluj-Napoca, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Feels good to get a video out, and look forward to more flight simulators, particularly the Hawaii flight, and maybe some more Halloween motherfuckers. Either way, hope you enjoyed, and as always, you have a nice day.